Waiting for Chair Hano. We are in a short recess. We are on recess, waiting for further testimony on HB174 concerning GMO taro. We will also be waiting for decision making on HB174 relating to food labeling, the GMO labeling bill, wanting that to pass out of Agriculture Committee. I had a tech problem. We lost connectivity and we're back now. I hope you can rejoin us. We are in recess. A lot of people here. Walter Riddy and a crew from Molokai. Babes Against Biotech. We're on a short recess waiting for Chair Hano, I believe. Also waiting for quorum to make for decision making in 174. We have two reps here. Chair Jessica Woolley. Chair Woolley, representative on the Windward Oahu side. Waimanalo Kaneohe. And on our stream, viewers from Maui, Courtney Brooke, aloha. Susan Vickery from Makavao. Keiko Bonk here too.
Yeah, only one body.
Okay, we're about to get started with some additional testimony on HB 735, GMO taro bill. If you're at home, look it up.
Mahalo everybody for your patience. We are opening the Joint Committee on Agriculture and Committee on Ocean Marine Resources this Thursday, now 9:10 a.m. in conference room 312. HB 735 relating to terror security is on the agenda. We've had a lot of testifiers, mainly in support. We went through the written testimony, and you can see online. And so we are now having folks who want to testify on this bill come forward. And with that, Juanita.
Aloha, Representatives, Chair Wuli, Anohano, Vice Chair Onishi Kalin, and all members of the Agricultural Committee and Ocean, Marine, and Hawaiian Affairs. Kalamai, our testimony is late, therefore we wanted to make sure that we express to the committee our comments and our support for House Bill 735 relating to provision of GMO taro. The Hawaiian Affairs Caucus, Democratic Party of Hawaii, and the Democratic Party of Hawaii support the concerns surrounding GMO food labeling as reflected in our current 2012 Democratic Party Hawaii State Convention resolution. Thousands of Hawaii Democrats recognize the protection of our most sacred and life-sustaining crop, kalo. We must protect and preserve the cultural integrity of the kalo as part of the heritage of the Hawaiian people. The genetic biodiversity and integrity of Hawaiian kalo varieties as part of the sacred trust between the state and the host culture of Hawaii, and the threatened economic and environmental impacts of Hawaii's kalo mahi'ai and the precious mea'ai they produce for all the people of Hawaii. Komako kalo kanu o ka'aina, our planted taro of the land, a phrase used to describe a proud and affectionate reference to a chief. Hawaiians have such strong reverence for this integral part of our culture and values, and to do any less to protect our ohana would be sacrilege. The Hawaiian Affairs Caucus of the Democratic Party of Hawaii strongly supports House Bill 735 in its original form to assure all of us that all kalo in the state of Hawaii will be prohibited from GMO. Mahalo for the opportunity to provide testimony, and this comes on behalf of our chair, Lila M. Hubbard, I'm speaking for. Now I'm going to put the other hat on, and I'm also with the Environmental Caucus of the Democratic Party of Hawaii, who shares the same sentiments as was stated by Hawaiian Affairs. In fact, a number of our caucuses are in support of this, and the others will step forward at the given times to come forward and tell our legislators in our community that we do support the prohibition of all GMO kalo. Mahalo.
Is there anyone else here to testify?
Excuse me.
Follow through. Nice to see you.
My name is Paul Raccoon, farmer in Waiahole Valley, Waiahole Valley, Oahu. I think this bill is very, very misleading, very, very dangerous. I think this is the toe in the door for GMO taro. And I just found out about it, I read it through last night, and it's, 90% of it is wonderful, wonderful language, sounds really good, let's protect the Hawaiian taro. But there's a lot of problems with it. One is that the Hawaiian taro has not been DNA mapped. So what is Hawaiian taro? It's a hybrid of Lehua and Palauan taro. Is that Hawaiian taro? Or is it a Hapa Hawaiian taro? Or is there a 50% DNA quantum that we've got to define to say what is Hawaii, what isn't? What if it's 1% Palauan taro? Is it now not Hawaiian anymore? Or what is it? So it becomes very difficult to say what is Hawaiian taro. And you've opened the door to GMO in other taros. Now, many years ago, Jonathan Cho did a bunch of hybridizing of of taros. And he gave us, I don't know, it's like 55 different hybrids. And I planted them all out. I labeled every one of them. It was an enormous undertaking. Kept track of what they all were. And most of them looked exactly like some Hawaiian variety. Or exactly, close enough that it would be extremely difficult to tell the difference. And the only way I think you can tell is through DNA mapping. But so I grew up all these taros, and then I ate, maybe 20 of them. I tasted them, separately, cooked them, and see what they taste like. None of them, as far as I could tell, tasted like the Hawaiian variety that they looked like, because they were crossed with some other varieties, Palawan taros, or he had brought in taros from all over the world, Nepal, all over the place. These hybrids are out there, and there's a danger there. I could taste the difference. None of them had the quality of the Hawaiian taro. So I saw right then the danger of fooling around with taro. Once you produce this taro and you get out into the world, there's no way to recall it. And there's no way to tell what it is. Because you do not have initial DNA mapping of the Hawaiian taros. That has not been done. And it's a big undertaking. So, what about Samoan taros? How do the Samoans feel about this? So are we going to allow Samoan taros to be GMO'd? And then what happens after 5 years? This thing sunsets in 5 years. Now, after 5 years, now these laboratories get opened up. If you do not pass another bill in 5 years to say that these things are going to be sequestered in perpetuity, then they can be released out into the world. And there's a huge danger of that. It's almost like the GMO companies wrote this bill because after 5 years the thing sunsets, and now it's going to take them 5 years to develop it anyway. And they're going to be putting in, grape genes, rice genes, various other genes which make the taro no longer hypoallergenic. It now becomes something that potentially is dangerous. And I think that this is really an important issue to the GMO companies because taro is a clone. It's not generally propagated through pollination, not through seed. Every plant is a clone of its parent, and this has been going on for thousands of years. So the taro that we plant today has been around for hundreds, if not thousands of years. So the good thing about that is if you create a GMO taro, you can create another plant exactly like it, producing the same drug or whatever it is you want to do with it. This is a really good plant to use to produce biopharmaceuticals or stuff like that. It's a real good plant to do that because it's not sexually propagated. So that's why I think there's such a push to GMO this taro. Okay, so the question I have is who's asking to do this? I thought Hawaiian taros were pretty much protected already. Maybe that there's a sunset, maybe the moratorium is over, but let's deal with Hawaiian taro. Let's not say other taros are good to propagate through GMO or to fool around with and do these things. I think it's really dangerous. So I question who is behind this. Because me, as a taro farmer, I know lots of other taro farmers. I've been to all the islands and talked to a lot of taro farmers. I certainly don't know them all, but I've talked to a lot of them. And I don't know anybody who is asking the scientists to come up with a better variety of taro. I don't know anybody asking for that. There are all kinds of problems in the taro industry, including various diseases and things like that. The main way to deal with that is to stop importing taro. And we import, I don't know what it is, like a quarter of all our taro gets imported from the South Pacific. And there are dozens, if not, I remember seeing a list of diseases, and the list was like 3 pages long, single space. And it's kind of scary to see this list of all these diseases that could be brought in. Well, the easiest way to avoid those problems is don't bring in any taro. Let's grow our own. And we have plenty of land to do that with. So let's not even go down this road. And then I think my last point is that it says that when you allow these other taros to be GMO research, it'll be done in laboratories where the public is not allowed. Who's the public? Is the custodian in that laboratory public? But they have access, right? They can go in there and do something. Is some graduate student public? Or how many graduate students get to go in there? Do all the graduate students at CTAR get to go into this laboratory? Or how do you define that? How do you keep this thing in there? What happens if one person goes in there and says, oh, this is a really nice taro. It grows really well. I'm going to take this out, give it to my friend. Or it's gone, it's lost, it can't be identified, it's out there. I mean, people are always giving us coolie and saying, oh, this is such and such a variety. And they're wrong. They don't know. You know, the state of knowledge of what the Hawaiian varieties are is not what it used to be. And in fact, in ancient times, it was always like that. You know, people always had different names for the same varieties of.
Vice Chair, excuse me, thank you, Chair, and other members of the committee. I'm here to voice my opposition to the bill as written. I support the intent of the bill. I'm a taro farmer also. Actually, I work for my son, who is a taro farmer. I'm a lucky guy. But the bill is written is dangerous because it does allow for genetic modification of other taro varieties. And my main concern is the hypoallergenic qualities that are in place with taro. Everybody can eat it. It is a starch that everyone can eat. If there were to taro can, it could destroy the taro economy as we know it. Okay, so please either kill this bill as written or amend to include all taros, and in perpetuity would be nice too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Danny. Anyone else here? And are against them?
Aloha, my name is Mitsuko Hayakawa. I'm a mother of 3 children, and I did send in a testimony for this bill in support, although with a request to amend this bill to include all taro, and I just wanted to stress for all the other reasons. And in respect to all of the Native people of Hawaii, this is a very, touchy issue, and I think that it's very important that we include all varieties of taro to be prohibited GMO. Thank you.
Thank you, Mahalo. And I do want to clarify the chairs have conferred on this bill already, and we both agree that it should include all varieties and that the expiration, the repeal should be eliminated. There is no repeal.
All right, good.
So with that, members, any questions?
Also, I want to call up Bishop and Rupon. I know both of you are really our Mahi'ai, Kakamoli, Mahi'ai Kalo. So being brought up on dryland taro, so I understand what you have been going through and how because we're on island state where we cannot have our taros mixed up with a lot of the GMOs that a lot of the companies come over to do. I mean, come over on the guise of like the corn industry trying to say that, oh, they're just raising the seeds for the other companies in the mainland. I mean, they're using Hawaii as a breeding ground.
Yeah.
And I really disagree with that because our islands are pure. So along that line, we want to keep our taros pure, our kalo. And because of the significance of haloa, which is related to our kalo, and also how Hawaiians have viewed the world of being in the spirit of ohana, and our haloa reminds us of that. So, I just have another question because you're talking about DNA mapping. Is this a new technology to be used for the future of all taros in the state of Hawaii?
DNA mapping is not a new technology. It's something that takes a lot of work. It's not easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
But it could be done, and we've been talking about having it done for Hawaiian varieties.
Yes.
And then once you've done that, then if you have any plant that you question what its genealogy is, you can go compare that with the original DNA map and decide whether or not it's a Hawaiian taro or not.
So do you think it's a good idea to do DNA mapping or
I do, not just because of GMO, but because of hybridization.
hybridization?
A lot of hybrids have already been made. If you do one, if you cross two varieties, you come up with thousands of different genotypes. I mean, thousands of different kinds of taro. So, if they look like the Hawaiian taro, the only way to identify these is through DNA. And if you don't have a reference, the reference point, you can't do that.
So if we were to, I'm just thinking along because I know a lot of the taros, the Hawaiian taros, are being lost. Plus, with this DNA mapping, it would, at least we would know if it is a true Hawaiian variety instead of second guessing. Because in taro, you really cannot tell what the taro is unless you're an expert and knowing what the lao looks like, the piko, the haha, the oha. I mean, yeah, as you can see, I do come from that line, yeah, because that's how we survive. So I'm just trying to find if we need to look at DNA mapping now, or maybe we need to work on it during the intern. So I would like your manao on that. And then the fix that we have said that to include all taros and to make it per pa, you're both fine with that?
I would be in favor of DNA mapping. I think it is important. I think it's way overdue because, again, there are a lot of hybridized taros that are out there, and they're part of the big problem is that we have hikers that go throughout our state. And they take taro up into the valleys, thinking that they're doing a really wonderful thing to spread halo.
Yes.
And they're taking them and they're planting them, but they are not really, they're not Jericho Nunui. They're not the few people that we know of that know taro inside and out. And so they're putting them up there, and then other people come up there a year or two later or 6 months later and they go, wow, this must be a variety that is lost to the people down below in the city. We'll take it down there and we'll name it ourselves, and it's happening. And now these taro are being spread out. They're giving all these beautiful flowery names, but we don't really know where they came from,
right,
and how they got to that valley. And there's a lot of assumption going on. So definitely trying to figure out, and Bulletin 84 is our Bible of taro, and there's no real good pictures. There's no real good, it's a lot of mo'olelo. It's a lot of kupunas describing what this taro looked like through the eyes of someone who's translating. That bulletin is being remade. So there might be a good time to put all of that into conjunction and then actually come out with some real specific scientifically also.
Okay, I would like to really thank both of you for all the work that you have done in preserving our haloa and also, the varieties, especially the Hawaiian varieties. But, all these incidentals that have been happening where people are so maha'oi going up into the valleys trying to make their own, lo'i or their own mala'ai and not knowing. So, and thank you for agreeing with what we want to do with the bill. So mahalo.
I have one question. You're asking if we would be okay with the bill.
Yes.
If it was modified, as you said.
Yes.
What is the purpose of this bill? Is it to extend the moratorium on GMO and Hawaiian taro?
It's to provide that there will be no GMO taro absent finding otherwise that we're going to change the policy.
Because what's in place right now is just an agreement with you.
It's an agreement, it's an understanding, it's a contract.
There is no law.
There's no law. It's not worth much.
Thank you, folks.
Mahalo.
Good.
Members, any other questions? Okay, with that, we're going to recess for decision making.
Okay.
We're going to open in the Committee on Agriculture 9:15 a.m. agenda, this Thursday, room 312. And we have several bills on our agenda, but I'm going to recess for now so that we can continue and do some decision making. I'll hold for your patience.
Okay, taking decision making recess. Looks like we have quorum for decision making in some of the bills, especially I'm especially here for HB174, the GMO labeling bill, and I know that's drawn a lot of people here. Also, they were taking testimony on HB735. Yeah. Okay, no. 735, which is the bill prohibiting GMO taro. There's currently a understanding with the University of Hawaii and but no statute, so we want to put it on the books, or this bill puts it on the books. On the other side of the room, with his video, Pono Ke Aloha, documenter of Hawaii. That's Michael Brody. Packed house. I'm squished here in a corner, but luckily we're on a short recess of decision making. A number of very crucial bills, including HB 174, GMO labeling. We're hoping that will pass out of Ag Committee onto the next and eventually cross over to the Senate. Senate Ag Committee is kind of a problem, but one thing at a time. If you're in town, you can join us. State Capitol Building, room 312. That's the third floor. It's a little conference room. There's audio being piped out on the outside, so you can hear what's going on outside. If you can't come in, no video streaming apparently. Sometimes these things are carried by Olelo. Pass 174. Long process. There was a march here on opening day. Thousands of people in the rotunda demanding labeling of GMO, along with the repeal of Act 55, the PLDC, Public Land Development Corporation. Very different issues, but very highly related. The GMO issue partially focusing on the health consequences of consuming GMO food, but also concentrating on emphasizing what it does to the land and to land use. The GMO industry here is basically to produce not food, but to produce seed. And that seed is sold overseas to the mainland, the continent, or overseas. And a lot of people see a limited benefit to that arrangement and a great liability in terms of toxicity of not only the product but of the environment, the land, the water, the runoff affecting sea life, reef life, where a lot of people I'm kind of squished in the corner here. Most guerrilla videographers are wiry guys, you know. If you look at Pono Kealoha, he's not a fat guy. Just pointing that out. We're on recess. In case you just joined us, there are all kinds of concerns when it comes to GMO. It's not only the consumption of the product, what it does to the environment. Henry Curtis brought up that if you're a vegetarian through religious belief, then GMOs are a problem because a lot of the genetic material that's injected into these vegetables, plant products, come from animals. We have people watching from Maui. Hello to Maui. Law is very Oahu-centric, very Honolulu-centric. I live about a mile and a half from the state capital. Looks like we're about to reconvene.
Richard.
This is the room. I'll pan through the room. That's the doorway in. Right outside there is also people watching from the Big Island, the island of Hawaii, Hawaii Island, Hawaii Moku, Moku Okeawe. I was panning through the room. That's the entrance. That was Walter Riddy, front row. Here's like this is where they validate your parking. No, I'm kidding, of course. There should be parking validation. I should introduce a bill about parking validation. We do have enough representatives. Yeah.
Like just right here.
Oh.
We might have other guests come in.
Okay. Oh, that's good. Okay, you're live on the internet, by the way. Being asked to move to make room for the reps, which I will. I'll be over here with you guys. Okay, we have quorum.
Aloha, good morning. Mahalo for your patience and for joining us. We are going to return to the 8:30 a.m. Korean Agriculture hearing. And we have 4 bills on the agenda for decision. The first one is HB174, relating to food and and I have handed out an HB1 to all the members and the Agriculture Committee. And I just want to walk you through this. We've made some significant changes. So we haven't kept reconvening, but we will go to another committee. Next Thursday, what time? We'll set the time in just a minute. So, Chair, I don't think your mic is on. Thank you. Okay, can everybody hear me? Do I need to reopen that, or everybody good? So we are.
So I guess they heard you, Courtney.
So again, HB174. Has everybody had a chance to look at that draft? Okay, so I'm just going to walk you through the changes. This is going to require that any imported raw foods be labeled when they come into the state and before they go out to retail. So it's going to place the burden of disclosure simply on people who are from the mainland importing into Hawaii to let us know if they are giving us GMO produce. I think that local farmers won't be impacted negatively at all. It'll actually probably help them. It only applies to the imported produce. GMO produce that's grown in Hawaii, rainbow papaya, will not require a label. I think most people who go to the store know that it's GMO. And we do have a small percentage of the industry that is now labeling organic. Processed foods and meats will also be exempt from this requirement. And I just want to mention that for folks who are opponents of GMO labeling, they've suggested that non-GMO would be a better label. And I just want to emphasize that placing that burden on traditional farmers, and by extension their customers, will raise the price differential between organic and non-GMO and GMO products. And I think that's an unfair burden on all of our traditional farmers and the consumers, because that's most of what they consume. Increasing the cost of organic and traditional produce would also make it less accessible to low-income families who so desperately need to be eating healthier foods to help reduce their obesity. So I'm very excited about this proposed revision. I think it addresses the criticisms we received from everybody. But it may not go far enough for many. I understand that. We're going to put a defective date on this of 2050, and it is a triple referral, so it still has a ways to go. But I'm very excited, and I really want to thank everybody for their testimony and their passion as we move forward. I also want to encourage folks to keep it respectful. There are differing visions of how we're going to feed the world and how we're going to feed the state. And at the moment, we have to learn better to coexist with different visions. So we don't know where we're going. We're on the precipice of the future, and it's up to us to decide. But I think this bill is an important step in making clear that everybody does have to be at the table. We're not going to exclude the traditional farmers or make them have to bear an additional cost in order to provide consumers with the information that they're demanding. So with that, members, any questions?
Madam Chair, before we begin discussion and voting, I need to ask for a ruling on a possible conflict. My spouse is a consultant with a pharmaceutical company that produces genetically modified medications.
No conflict. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I have a point of clarification. Earlier we were in the other meeting in economic development, and I know the committee deferred this decision making. Was there a time certain, and was there a reposting of the decision making for this item?
Yes, there was.
It was time certain, and there was a reposting?
Yes.
But I just checked, it wasn't on the...
Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening in my clerk's office, but we have 8:11 a.m. stamping February 5th. We get plenty of notice.
No, when you deferred the item earlier this morning, Madam Chair, was there a reposting?
No, we don't. We just recessed until further decision making, and that's consistent with the rules.
I believe the
I
motion
double
that
checked.
was made. I believe the motion that was made was to defer this item for decision making, and at that point, the item needs to be rescheduled for decision making. If we want to be transparent and follow the rules.
I think that everybody who was in the room at the time was under the clear understanding that we were recessing until we could reconvene with quorum.
Yes.
Correct.
Well, that's
correct.
Not the information we got. So, and Madam Chair, I'm asking you. So.
I tell you what, recess? Sorry, excuse me.
Okay, this is not good. These guys came from Molokai.
I came from Molokai, and we need to make sure we follow the rule. That's all I'm asking. I just want to make, because if we vote and we did it, that's fine.
Who told you? What did they tell you?
Well, I heard people that were watching the
Okay.
meeting.
We're trying to get the compromise bill passed. I think there's an expectation of privacy, so I'm not going to stick my microphone up there. People from all over the state here.
Welcome to the 9 a.m. Committee on Agriculture, Committee on Ocean, Marine Resource, and Hawaiian Affairs. We're reconvening.
8:30 or 9?
We're doing the 9 a.m. joint hearing, HB 735. And the chair and I have discussed this measure. We're very excited about it, but after hearing comments, we want to confer and take some time to work on that language. And we are going to defer decision making until next Thursday at 9:30 a.m. in the same room. And the date next Thursday, February 14th.
Oh, Valentine's Day.
So it will just be for decision making. We will not be taking testimony. But if you have any questions, you can contact our office. Again, Thursday, room 312, 9:30 a.m. for decision making. Mahalo for you.
Can you send me the bill number? Because I have so many agendas.
735. Your
9 a.m.
9 a.m.
Okay,
HB
so
735.
till
Thursday,
Thursday.
9:30 a.m.
And that's Valentine's Day.
Thank you.
And 3:12.
I'll make your hearts.
Okay, any other questions?
Okay, also the Committee of Ocean Resources and Hawaiian Affairs agree with deferring it, and it's going to be next week Thursday, February 14, 2013 at 9:30 a.m. in room 312. Okay, so hopefully the napu by Ebola. Agoyo. I'm done. So this completes the hearing of the Joint Stream Ag and Ocean Resources Management and Hawaiian Affairs. Mahalo.
Aloha. Mahalo for your patience. The one agenda that is being questioned, we're in recess. We're going to continue to be in recess until the question is addressed. But I do want to reconvene this Committee on Agriculture hearing, the one that started 9:15 a.m. And
we're waiting for a decision on whether decision making can be done on HB174.
Vice Chair?
Testifiers for House Bill 1264, Russell Kokobun, Department of Agriculture. Are there any others that want to?
Oops, excuse me.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to the agricultural loan issue. We of course support the intent of the bill. The more capital we can provide for new farmers or farmers is a good way for them to begin their operation. We just asked that the committee, the chair and the committee take a look at House Bill 770 and 771. These were concepts and language that we developed as an admin bill. So I think this would be a little bit more comprehensive. The language in House Bill 770 would allow for farmers to receive a better rate for infrastructure improvements related to biosecurity, and this is what the EPA is currently requiring. And I'm talking specifically about like egg houses and other types of infrastructure like that. So the idea would be for this to be very focused on that kind of biosecurity infrastructure, because we already have the capability now of doing loans for regular infrastructure for ag. The other issue is the new farmer loan limit. We would prefer that we already have something in place that maxes out at $250K, but we've only had that in place for like a year. So it would be, I think, better to get a track record, see how that's going. In fact, it's going very well at the 250 level. So sometimes, farmers struggle with a loan that gets too large for them. So that's why the ability to get the new farmer loan now would allow them to get operating, and then if there's a desire to increase the amount for their operating, then they can come back in and redo a loan on a regular ag loan. So, that's another issue. So, the language in House Bill 771 also talks about new innovative farming techniques, and as you all know, with aquaponics and hydroponics, etc., these kinds of new innovative farming techniques are something that we would like to support, and that's why there was specific language in our loan program to allow for that. I think that would be good. Thank you.
Are there any other persons here that want to testify on House Bill 126? 126.
Oh, yeah. Maybe you should come on time.
What? We don't have a chance to give our testimony. What are we supposed to do? Come back in next week?
Yesterday was decision making. It wasn't.
Are you blaming her when all of us was here when she was here, bro? No. We was all waiting for everybody.
You were late.
No.
Because all we want is a chance for you guys to hear us. Are you guys going to do that? No.
You're not letting me finish, bro. In decision making, there is no testimony. The bill was heard on Monday. That's when the testimony is taken. Then she deferred it to today. So that's, the chair in any committee doesn't take testimony when the bill is for decision making only. That's not my rule. That's the chair's rule, that's the House's rule, that's the Senate's rule. So you today, if you came today, you couldn't have given testimony anyway, brother. And for that, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that.
We were waiting for the decision to pass HB174.
If we were waiting for the decision making, I understand that. But when the chair, we have rules we got to follow. If we don't follow the rules, the bill's going to die. And
she was waiting for quorum, for enough people to show up in order to make
I'm talking about this. What's in there? So, my point is a clerical point, because if we pass a bill and it's posted wrong, the bill going to die. And if that's what you want, then let's vote. The bill going to die.
So you're saying decision making can't happen?
No. Well, decision making could have happened at 8:30, but when the other committee was held and we were voting in the other committee, we came here, it was deferred. But when the meeting was deferred, she had to come up with a time certain on when that meeting was going to be.
There was a recess so that quorum could be made to pass the...
What I understand, and we got to go back and check, and that's what she's doing.
So, but I think the feeling here right now is we have so little faith in anything you guys do. That you know what I mean? We can, just listening to you, I'm like, fuck.
Because you don't understand, you never understand my question.
But nobody understands what you guys doing up here.
We know you're holding up the decision making to pass HB174.
We raise more awareness, we educate more people, we do more stuff with the responsibility that you guys get, then you guys do. And you guys get fucking good money for doing this.
Okay, brother.
I mean, I try to respect you too, because usually I rage already.
You celebrate, but you don't think I
I mean, I wondered if we're on the same side. I don't know. Probably not.
I don't think so.
Okay.
So
I have other questions. About the bill. Do I want to make sure that things are labeled correctly? Absolutely.
I don't like keep marching down here with 200, 400 guys every time to the same capital and trying to get you guys the awareness up. To know that, hey, GMOs, all they do is poison. Pharmaceuticals, whatever.
Okay, so if you're talking about Monsanto, Syngenta, and you're talking about the seed corn people...
The same guys that come into your offices with money every single...
No, I don't take their money. And I haven't taken their money for years. Just because guys like you can tell me about banana. I'm not. But do I want to see... Do we have enough inspectors right now? If the product comes in and it says it's GMO free, do we have the inspectors to know that it's GMO free? Brother, we don't. And that's another thing. So I'm gonna make you feel good. I'm gonna vote yes.
I don't even like labels on GMO free. I like labels on GMO.
It's GMO labels we want, not
the
GMO.
Farmers get the cost for the
Why would you do that?
Well, that's what the bill says. Okay, well, what's the other bill?
Tired of begging the people to protect us.
We're fighting the government to protect the environment. What is that?
I came over there, and then I'm going to laugh. laugh and make anything.
Yeah, you did. Because you stuck the camera in my face, bro. I don't appreciate it.
I told you smile. I mean, what?
The pressure is not going to stop.
Wait,
Maybe the attitude, right? Because I never understand the whole process.
That's why I came
how
out
much
to
time
talk
was
to you. That's why I came out to talk to you. My issue is this kind of stuff, bro. You know when you see the meeting was posted, this came from the chair's office, 11 p.m. at night, 11:30 p.m. at night. So when she scheduled the meeting, it was supposed to be 11 a.m. in the morning. So there's problems, there's issues, and my thing is, if you can schedule this meeting, you better make sure we schedule it right. And she didn't.
Does that have anything to do with how you're going to vote on the bill? Does that have anything to do with how you're going to vote?
Excuse me, can I just say something? I think you need to be respectful. I mean, we're elected officials. And I think
we're the people. We're the people.
We elected you.
This is our house.
You're more likely to get our courtesy as well. Okay? I'm just saying, look, I haven't done this before. It's new to me. I'm a freshman. But I have respect for elected officials, and I think you should as well. We're all elected by our constituents.
Be here 7:30.
Right.
Just
right there. 7:30.
Or 8:30. We're all here at 8:30. Where'd you guys?
Anyway, I'm sorry. I came up to talk to him because I wanted you to understand. Because he was mocking me.
We're all mad.
But he was
We're all
mocking me
mad,
with
yeah.
the camera. So I just wanted him to understand
I got a camera.
why I did what I did.
Another camera right there.
Well,
I've got a camera right here.
You're live on the
I'm
internet.
not talking to you.
You've had enough.
Please. Okay? That is the... I just said that. I came out to talk to him.
We're talking to you.
So that is my concern with what is happening. So if we vote on something and it's technically wrong, the bill can die and you can be more pissed off. You can be more pissed off if we didn't do it the right way.
From what we understand, it's not a matter of years. It's only a matter of
Yes. Yes. Okay.
So every time get delayed, and especially on stuff like this, like, you know what I mean, like technicalities. That's how the cops couldn't arrest me when I was shining lights out on it. Right? But there don't mean a thing not wrong.
No. Exactly. But does that mean it stands up in court? The bill dies. The bill dies if we don't do it right.
Well, we're so used to things
not
dying.
gonna
That's all it does.
Wow.
So any kind of move forward for us is better than where we stay right now. But
you make sure the thing moves forward.
You can pass it. There will be no problem if you pass it.
But see, that's
okay,
where
you know
I disagree.
what?
That's
you
where
know
I
what?
disagree.
If you think so, make them pass. When the thing comes to the committee that getting hard time, you let me know. We're gonna bring 500-600 guys again.
We can bring 5.
We're gonna storm the building and we're gonna make sure that the thing is heard. Because what you telling me is, don't worry, Mr. Nell. I'm gonna help fix this so the thing will be good for you guys.
I didn't say that.
Oh, then what the we having this conversation?
Because I want you to understand why.
What you signal really matters.
What it matters.
Because not for matter to any of us who feel. We kind of keep doing that for every time.
Okay. So my point is do it the right way. That's all I'm saying.
I'm telling you, we've been coming out
whether
4 years.
even if it was in reverse, even if I was for the bill or against the bill, it doesn't matter. I would bring up the point anyway, because otherwise the bill nobody wins. Nobody's gonna be happy.
I thought you was gonna say something to me that would actually make me feel bad or mocking you. But I don't think anything that was said make me feel in any way that
passing the bill on. I think I told you that in the beginning. So what? But I'm talking to him.
So what's your
talking to you.
I don't know what your problem
with
is,
the
but I'm
time.
talking to him. What's the time? It's with the rule. And that's why the sergeant is here to check to make sure that we're doing it the right way. And that's what
she said you're going to recess.
But it doesn't matter what she said now. It matters what she said before.
What did she say before?
Were
you even in there?
No, I wasn't. I was in the other
waiting
room voting. Okay, anyway. Let me finish my conversation with him. When I found him, if you want to talk, there's decisions happening in there, there's discussion happening in there. I want to go back and listen to that. But because I had an issue with him, and because I wanted to clarify the issue with him, that's why I came up to talk to him. Yeah?
Took all these ways to the restaurant.
So I think I told you when I first came up, we have no pepper. You know, but let's just agree to disagree. I'm trying to bring up the issue of the process, the rules. That's my point. The other thing, the bill moves on. If it moves on and the process goes down wrong, then you got to recommit the bill. The bill has to be recommitted. You guys don't want that. It's dead.
You're the one that brought it up.
Softball team, you know, with legislators. Because you guys get play games, boy, I tell you. But hey, I appreciate you coming out and okay, you know, trying to make sense, but
and
never really makes sense to me, and I don't like the tactics.
I understand.
I don't like what you've been saying to me. I disagree with everything, but I appreciate you coming out and saying
my point is the transparency and the vote. If I vote yes,
because nothing you guys do is transparent, and everything you guys do is
right.
where you from, because the thing don't feel like it.
not listening.
No feel.
I never say it. You know what? I never say that it feels right. I never say that what happens here is right. It's not only research. I'm from Florida.
I believe the name is Tokioka.
She feels that too. You know, we feel that. The neighborhood feel that. So I'm not disagreeing with you on that.
I just wish neighbor would stick together, but obviously we're not. So maybe I probably what I get said to you, and I'll probably listen to what you get for said to me. So right on, brother.
And I think there are
okay.
factors like
Meetings and different committees. We elected you, as you said, so please, the people in the 15th district on Kauai elected me to represent their district. So that's why I'm time to represent them.
doing your damn job. Stop making
I'm here. I'm at the other meeting. We gotta make sure we vote.
Processed foods and meats will also be exempt from the requirement, nullifying the argument that labeling will increase the cost of the food we buy. Did everybody get that?
Is there anyone of us getting
okay. You have any questions, Rep. Choi?
Yes. Okay, so this whole labeling thing is supposed to clear up confusion between GMO and non-GMO. But now it's only for produce, imported produce only. None of the grocery, none of the canned items, the frozen foods, the meats, cheeses, milk, all that stuff is exempt now.
That's right.
Why are we labeling it?
I think the main point is that people, particularly people who are health conscious or concerned about babies or getting pregnant in particular, they're demanding more information. And this is an easy way for us to provide that information. I do think that those customers also tend to buy unprocessed foods. So they are looking for information. Currently, they can't find it.
So you're kind of saying that they're all vegetarians?
No.
So it's only imported. We're going to label only imported produce, and that's supposed to clear up confusion.
Yep. And at the moment, we don't even know, and that's part of the challenge. So I think consumers have a right to know, and that's what we're saying.
So why are we labeling everything?
Thank you. Well, labeling everything would be a great idea, but at this point, logistically not possible. It's more of a federal issue. We're going to start small. We're going to try to address those consumer needs that are so passionate when they go to the store. They can at least be assured when they buy their apple, they know whether it's GMO or not. And if it's labeled GMO and they like it, that's great.
You mentioned some federal issue. Can you outline that for me, please?
I think with processed foods, one of the challenges we would have is probably Commerce Clause in particular. So I've looked at the issue very closely. Processing food is something maybe for the future. I'm sure many people would like to see it.
No, I'm sorry. So there's a Commerce Clause issue on imported produce?
No. If we dealt with the processed foods coming in, we would have a challenge.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
This is supporting local produce, local farmers, and it is requiring that people who are importing produce to our state will have to label it as a GMO product.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
In the draft, it designates the health department as in charge of coming up with rules and enforcement. Have we gotten testimony from the health department as to
No, not yet. No. This is, and a lot of the language is new, so it's still got a ways to go.
And it also refers to testing of produce to determine GM organisms. Is there a method to test for genetic modification?
There are methods, and actually we had a long discussion about this issue because it is a challenging one. We are not being heavy on enforcement. We're going to be relying on the companies initially to be forthcoming about what they're doing. I would think that if they do have a GMO product that they're selling, maybe they should be proud of it as being GMO, and they should label it.
Yep.
So I think we are going to suggest a task force to further look into that issue. It is complicated. Not easy, but I do think it deserves further analysis. We will not be addressing that, I think, with this first effort.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So just as a matter of clarification, I did check with the clerk's office, the sergeant's office. I don't know if you have spoken with anybody, but the reason I wanted to make that clarification is because if we didn't follow the rule, and today is third reading, this is a bill that has a triple referral, and it didn't go through the process, the bill could die. And I didn't want that to happen, whether I vote yes or no. I just saw your draft. I was outside speaking with a few of the people that were in support of the bill. This is a drastic change from the original bill. And I appreciate your concerns from the people that came to testify. And I do have concerns because when we talk to the health department or the agriculture department, we don't have the inspectors. We don't have the inspectors to inspect every single container that comes from, whether it's the Big Island, from this island to whether it's Molokai, Kauai, Koki frogs come from the Big Island. They come to, and Manoa too. And we don't have the resources to inspect what we do now. So that is a concern. So, even if we label it, do we know that it's going to be GMO free? We have had incidents of people selling organic produce to food chains that are not being organically produced, and we know that. So, those are the types of things, the concerns that we have. And when you have people that come and testify who are on, EB cards and they looking for the best price. I was in Whole Foods this morning talking with the manager there and how they do what they do. They have this 365 program, but it's a Costco, it's a Whole Foods program. And they do a great job at that. But definitely when you look at the prices, it's higher. It's higher for that GMO chicken that is in their display case. And she showed me the difference in the price.
You mean the non-GMO? Well,
the GMO to the non-GMO. They're sitting side by side. So those are the kinds of questions that I think are important to be asked, because if we do this, we have to make sure that we can enforce it. And that's the type of stuff that we haven't really gotten into, the cost of those things. So I think Whole Foods does a great job because they have an outside entity that does the testing for them. The state doesn't have that. And I think it's a good move, it's a good step in the right direction. But we have to make sure that we're able to enforce it. And so those are some of my concerns. As the way the draft is written now, I have no problem moving it out to the next committee. But this, as you stated, is a big change from the original bill, and I thank you for that.
Okay. Mahalo, I appreciate your comments, and I think that I agree with all of your concerns. We have a lot of challenges if we're going to do this, but I do think that there is such a demand for it, and it is possible. We've been working on invasive species, and with all of the work from previous chair, Suji, and agriculture, we've been able to get some of those inspectors, and we will continue to make sure we have adequate inspectors. It's another issue that we've been working on this session. So I think there's no question we cannot diminish the resources we have right now, because everything coming in may be an invasive species. And this is adding a very simple, essentially check mark. If it's GMO, is it labeled? The enforcement side, we're not going to push hard this time. We don't have enough information. We are going to rely on the industry. There is a penalty provision currently, but I think that the enforcement, like any law, is very difficult. And so we really do rely on the industries themselves to act in good faith. But mahalo for your comments and your support. Suji.
Thank you, Chair. Just repeating what Representative Tokioka said, there's some drastic amendments or changes, and because of that, I'm not reading the entire bill. However, I pick up some areas, and maybe you could give a further explanation. And one goes on, etc., or distribute such produce shall obtain from the immediate source of the produce a sworn statement that the produce has not been knowingly and intentionally genetically engineered, grown from genetically engineered seeds or organisms, or combined with genetically engineered produce or organisms. Can you explain that? You're trying to say at one time that you're not going to push certain areas because this is a working legislation and even provide for amnesty. Well, I think you said that, but I think compliance, whether you support or don't support, is pretty stiff in this area. Can you explain that here? I'm talking about page 2 from line 5.
I think that's all. The only thing this is referring to is if it's grown without knowing that it's GMO, then there will not be the same kind of enforcement.
There won't be any enforcement?
If they provide a sworn statement that the produce has not been knowingly and intentionally genetically engineered. So it's essentially letting, if they're not sure, but they want to be able to certify, that's what they need to do. Yeah? It's a simple.
Okay. Then if you continue going on, then another amendment about, if you look at item line number 17, talking about produce shall be considered genetically engineered produce if the organism from which the produce is derived has been genetically engineered. Is that redundancy, and what are you trying to say then?
I think the focus is on the seed. Yeah, if you buy seed from a GMO company, that is a GMO product. So that's the focus.
Okay, thank you.
Chair?
Yes, report.
I was pleased to hear that there was going to be a deferral, but then I appreciate the process of we didn't do it. It's not going to happen. But I just started to really dig into the data, and I was looking at the European perspective on this, and I think they've studied this probably longer than others, and I was just at the tip of the iceberg. But then I discovered that they do not require GMO labeling on dairy, poultry, and beef, and I thought, oh, that's to me the crux of this issue.
It's the feed. The feed is the challenge.
Yeah.
How you can define it. It's
Those
very complicated.
things eat it, and then you eat it. I thought that was a real core of the issue.
It's a very good point.
Having
Very
said
challenging.
that, the Department of Health, of which this is a major issue, but where is the testimony as others are concerned?
Well, I think the next committee is CPC. So hopefully they'll come in CPC. We did not see them.
And Department of Agriculture.
So we're just yeah.
Having said that, it's hard call.
Okay. With that, sure. Chief.
For those of you who were at the former hearing, you knew I had a lot of reservations. But after reading, oh no, my now what bill? I think it's a great first step. We heard a lot of people who testified in support, and I think we do have that obligation to really come through for them. And I think this is a great compromise. We take out the feed. That was one of my largest concerns. So I think it's something that I think we really do have the responsibility to move forward on.
Thank you. Okay. Vice Chair.
Chair. After reading the bill, I understand the whole concept of what we're trying to get to. My problem with the existing modified bill, amended bill, is that we're addressing only one segment of food, and we are only addressing imported food, and the onus is being put on someone who is not from Hawaii. Yes. And how are we going to enforce that? And in here it says that the person, the supplies, is responsible for labeling. So if the retailer is the person who is supplying the sale, then they ultimately are going to be the person responsible. Or if it's a wholesaler who imports it, they will ultimately be responsible for making sure that the labeling is done, which now I think affects our local economy, because now these people would have to be the people who have to make sure everything conforms, and it's going to add to their costs. And their costs then would then be pushed on to the consumer, because they're not going to be, yeah, they are the supplier though. And the ultimate responsibility goes to the supplier, and they are going to be considered the supplier. And if they have an affidavit from someone who produces this stuff in another country or in another state, and it's found to be false, whose liability does that fall under? How are we going to end up suing somebody in Mexico or somebody in North Carolina that they haven't complied with this bill, or they provided false information? And is it now going to fall on the retailer or the wholesaler who imported into Hawaii? So I have strong reservations regarding this bill, because I think it still needs to be reworked. Thank you.
Okay, and I'll just respond that the bill clears the suppliers responsible for labeling, and the determination should be made at the point of entry. Please take the vote.
Okay, Madam Chair, on House Bill 174, the recommendation is to pass with amendment. Chair and Vice Chair, Chair votes aye, Vice Chair votes with reservations. Representative Brower.
Aye.
Representative Cachola. Excused. Representative Choi.
Reservations.
Representative Ono.
Reservations.
Representative Takeyama.
Reservations, please.
Representative Tokioka.
Reservations.
Representative Suji.
Reservations.
Representative Cheek.
Aye.
Representative Ward.
Reservations.
Chair, recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. Moving on to the next measure.
Okay.
In talking to the Vice Chair about this bill, HB97, we want to make a very
174, a compromise version of it. Compromise of the bill did pass to the next committee.
There might be some ambiguity in the current language if it is not genetically.
Yeah. So they have an out. What do you think of one of the bill and what happened today?
I wasn't here the whole morning, but it's really obvious the same guys who've been killing it all these years are in there making signals.
Yeah.
And they don't have the votes to stop it this time, but they're going to try their best to stop it in the next round. So every single round is going to be important.
Right, and it was a fight here this morning, even with a lot of people. They tried to keep it from having a vote on whether to pass it out or not, on a technicality.
Yeah, they're going to try every single, they say this place is supposed to be transparent. All of the new leaders within this building said everything will be transparent.
Yeah.
We'll be open to everything. That's all bullshit.
Yeah.
They're just as untransparent as ever, hiding and sneaking around and doing backroom deals.
Well, we're glad you're here. Thanks for coming all the way out from Molokai, you and your crew.
All the cockroaches can stop
Bring your flashlight. We need more flashlights. Where are you going?
Walk into my office and get somebody waiting. Okay. So,
I want to ask Keiko Blanc what she thinks of today's action. I want to talk to you. What do you think of today's decision on HB174?
I think it's a good start. We would have liked to have seen a bigger stand of produce and food labeling, but it's a good start.
It's a good start, and it passes out of this committee. Who's the next committee that has to pass it?
I'm going to have to check, but it has to go through a few more hoops here and in the House, so I don't remember the next committee actually, but I'll be following it along with other people. I'm just one board member from HOFA, Hawaii Organic Farming Association. Mark Ferguson usually speaks for HOFA. He's the president, and Walter Riddy belongs to HOFA. HOFA started on the Big Island, where I'm from, and was originally an organization of organic farmers who rallied together almost 20 years ago to start labeling organic in Hawaii. But now that organic is labeled and certified by the mainland, HOFA is now moving in the direction of organizing farmers and other people concerned with health issues of food to do more advocacy and work in the legislature and local level government.
Great.
So that's why I'm participating. And also, this particular issue is an issue of civil rights, which I believe are, social justice. So that's why I'm actively getting involved in.
Great. Thanks. Thanks for your participation. Okay, we are at the Hawaii State Capitol in Honolulu, where the House Committee on Agriculture just passed HB174, a GMO labeling bill, passed it out of their committee into the next, so it has some committees that it has to pass through before crossing over to the Senate and perhaps becoming the first GMO labeling law for Hawaii, a law that we've been asking for, the people have been asking for, marching for years. So you have a reaction? You want to tell people what you think? This is Mitsuko. Okay. Good seeing you. Hey, Michael Brody, what do you think? You're live on the internet.
What do I think?
Yeah, what do you think of what happened today?
Interesting move by Tokioka. Heva, in my opinion, to try to play these games when we've been coming here for so long. Glad we passed it down.
It did. I'm glad it passed. We got some kind of thing passed through. It's a good beginning, I think. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people living here who don't know that papayas are genetically modified.
They don't.
And yeah, we have a lot of tourists that come here assuming that they're safe or whatever. And so that, I think, is a benefit.
Yeah.
But we have 615 in the Senate, so do you guys know how that's going to work? If those bills are going to come together?
Yeah, I think so. I think it goes through all the various Senate or House committees, and then it crosses over, and eventually one or the other will make it. What's the name of the Senate counterpart, Senate bill?
I think it's 615.
615, and that's a labeling bill also?
Yeah, that's for the official.
Is that not? Oh, okay. 61. Is that the one for the Franken salmon stuff, or what? 615. I'll look that up. Great. Okay, there is some action today, which was fun. So we'll be signing off from Hawaii State Capitol Room 312, and see you next time. Thank you all for joining us. Let me get a good kind of scenic thing to sign off on. Oh, here, the rotunda round thingy. Okay, till next time. Thank you.